What time is it? I think it's time for an unboxing. Let us begin. Oh, but turn this on here. Hello everyone and welcome to BHD Studios. Today we'll be doing an unboxing of 3 TT Artisan lenses. I have this TT Artisan lens, the 17mm f1.4. I wrote an article for Fuji Love magazine. I'll leave the link down below on this lens. I had fun with this lens. I think the title of it was like, is this a toy lens or like a real lens? And in the end, I basically said, look, if you can work around the weaknesses of this. One of it is it's very soft along the edges when you're shooting wide open. There's some vignetting wide open as well, but I actually think that looks pretty cool. But to really get it sharp edge to edge, you're stopping down the f8. And if you're okay with that, you're okay with manually focusing, this lens is fine. But this is no replacement of the 18mm f1.4. I think there's like a $700, $800 difference between that lens and this lens. So this is like $130 US right now. For this TT Artisan lens, but it's fun. 17mm 1.4. I think it's kind of based on a Voigtlander lens design. This kind of this cone torpedo shaped lens. But I had fun with this, and then TT Artisan said, "Hey, would you want to test other lenses?" And so they sent these 3 lenses, not all at the same time, but I just haven't had a chance to open them up. So I thought I would open up all 3 of them, and we'll talk about each one of these separately. So let's start the unboxing now. And we will start maybe with this lens here. This is the 27mm f2.8, and what makes this different than the other TT Artisan lenses is that it is autofocus. It's a 27mm f2.8 pancake, and so let's open this up here. I have this knife that was sent to me from BMKT from just outside of Regina, Saskatchewan, and so thank you so much for sending this out to me. Awesome sheepfold design with the micarta finish here, so it'll kind of darken up over time with my hand just using it. So let's start the unboxing. None of these have been open. I've yet to play with it, so let's open this up. Very light box. And yeah, packaging is nice. You know, these third-party lens manufacturers have been kind of adding a lot of great value. Warranty card, and it's like a little manual here. And this is a lens here. It looks as small and as light as Fujifilm's own OEM 27mm f2.8. And this is super small and super light. That's a cute little look at this. What is the size of this filter? I don't even know. It looks tiny. But anyways, it's smaller than even the edge marking of this here, but it's 0.35 meter minimum focus distance, 27 f2.8. Oh, there you go, 39mm filter thread. So that's tiny there. And TT Artisan, and it feels, you know, very light, plasticky, but it is a metal, perhaps even a brass mount here. And let's just see here. It has the A mode, right? So if you want the body to be able to control the aperture, you can. And it is in, let me just see here. It is in, oh, it's in third stops. Yeah, so it's in third stops. I'm a fan of half stops, but I know a lot of you guys like the third stops. So there you go. And then it has this really narrow focus ring here. So let's just put this, let's just see what else is here. Oh, look at that. They have a cute little, look at that. Cute little lens hood. Look at that. So if you want to put filters, I guess you can. Or if you just want this little metal, it's metal too. Nice little, cute little lens hood. You pop it on there like that. So let's just see what this looks like. Let's just put this away here. And we will pop it on the X Pro 3. Because I think a lot of these fun lenses, I'm going to just use it on the X Pro 3. Here we go. And so this is what it looks like. I mean, this is definitely a daily carry. The original 27 f2.8 from Fujifilm did not have an aperture ring. The new version optically is the same, but it has an aperture ring. This is still very narrow, but I mean, on an X Pro 3, it's good enough. And I can't remember if I saw some contacts. Yeah, so there are contacts here. So XF data should be fed back to the body so it knows what lens you have on here. And it does have a stepping motor. I'm gonna test the autofocus, you know, when I'm out and about, but this has autofocus. So let's just see here. Yeah, I mean, it's not the fastest autofocusing, but you know, what is this, $150 for this lens? So if you're looking for a cheap prime lens in the sort of 40mm equivalent, which I actually do like the 40mm equivalent, this is a good option. But I'll be running tests on the optical quality of this lens. So that's this lens here. And let's just put this one aside. Here's a close-up look of the 17mm f1.4, and this actually comes with a screw-on metal lens hood. All right, so there you go. First lens done. Now let's look at this lens here. This is the 35mm 0.95. So this is a knocked. And this is going to be manual focus, and same with the other lens, manual focus. The thing about this is, you know, Fujifilm doesn't have a 35 knocked, right? In fact, they said that if they wanted to make a 35 knocked, originally the 50mm f1 was supposed to be 35, and Fujifilm showed a mock-up of it showing, well, this is how big it would be if we did make the lens. But you know, that is of course with autofocus motors and things like that. So this is no autofocus motor. And let's just take a look at this lens here. All right, now look at this. Clearly much heavier than the 27mm. And this lens here, let's just see this. Okay, nice and clicky. So here's 0.95. And this actually is in half stops. I like that. It's a lot easier to know when you're going from f1.4 and then 2 clicks, 2 clicks, 2.8, 2 clicks, 4, 2 click 5. So if you know your f stops, like your main stops, it's in half stops. So I think when you're not looking, it's a lot easier to feel it. And it is click stop, so that's nice. And minimum focus on this is going to be 0.35. And for a 35mm, 0.35 is good enough. And like my 17, as I mentioned, it has a metal lens hood. Metal lens cap. Did I say hood for the other one? Metal lens cap, which is kind of cool, but you know, carrying this in your pocket, if I use this a lot, I'd probably end up just buying a cheap plastic lens cap for this, a 52mm. So this is it here, and you can see the aperture right in there. It's not circular aperture blades, so as you step down, you'll start seeing the sort of the octagonal, hexagonal, I don't know how many blades there are in this thing. So it'll be interesting to see what the bokeh would look like, but I think most of us will be shooting at 0.95 and maybe stop down. Remember, half stop, so we're at f1.4 here. So I think 1.4, and you're gonna see the little straight edges there. Build quality feels nice. It would be nice if it had a focusing tab, but I do like this little silver marking on here, and you do have a depth of field scale over here, and 52mm filter thread for a knocked is not bad. And now let's just swap this out and put this lens on here. There you go. So this is what this lens looks like on the X Pro 3. So I do look forward to testing this and reporting back to you. I don't expect this to be anywhere close to Fujifilm's own here. So I have the original, they call it, right? The original 35mm f1.4, 35mm f.95. But you know, you're getting one stop faster. So if you're doing night photography, maybe perhaps at infinity focus, if you're shooting something like, you know, 30, 40, 50 feet away, we'll see what this looks like. I think that's kind of what I'm gonna test this at. And as well, stopping it down to f5.6, I want to see the sun stars and see how this reacts at night. But I'm gonna probably attach it mostly to my X Pro 3, and when I'm out and about on my day off, this is probably about as big as I would want to go with a lens like this. And so 35 knocked. All right, so let's just put this away. All right, and now the final lens here is the 50mm f1.4 tilt lens. And so a lot of you guys maybe know of Canon's famous tilt shift lens, where it has both tilt and shift. This is just tilt. And so let's open this up. And this lens here, again, like the other 35.95, Fujifilm does not make tilt lenses or shift lenses for their X mount. So you don't really have a choice. There's no real equivalent to this lens in the Fujifilm X mount. And so if you want a tilt lens for your X mount, well, you're gonna have to go with a third-party manufacturer like TT Artisan. And so this is it here. This is what is this? Oh, it's kind of like just a push-on lens cap, which I'm not a fan of these. I mean, it's kind of cool, but I'd always be afraid that I'd knock this off, right? Let me just see here. It's kind of almost like a vacuum sealed on. Yeah, there's like a little felt or something on the inside to keep it on, but I'd probably just end up just buying a 62mm filter. Here we go. So let's just go all the way to f1.4. No click stops on this. All right, and looking here, it's not rounded. I mean, they're a little bit rounded, but not too much. So as you start to You see here. So here, and now where are we at here? We're at F2 point. This is F2.8 there. You're probably gonna start seeing those. The bokeh balls won't be perfectly round, but you know, this is not why you're buying this lens. I think if you are going to be tilting the focus, I think you're trying to do like, you know, those toy image kind of shots. And so let's just mount this on. Let's actually just mount this onto my X-T5. I think maybe this is probably something that I'm gonna use on this body. And let's just see here. Wow, that's a big glass element in the back there. No electronic contacts, so the camera doesn't know what's on here. So here we go. And this is, look at how loose that is. I see. So I think you have to tighten this here. There we go. So that keeps this from shifting. All right, so this is what the lens looks like. And let's see here. I haven't played with the shift lens in a long time. Here we go. So this is how you shift. So what does this do? Right? Some of you are wondering, well, what does this do? And I think that's what this here is for as well. If you want the tilt going 90 degrees, so tilting up and down, you shift it this way here. So now you're tilting this way, right? Up and down like this. And so what does this do? Well, I'd rather have it straight for now. So let's just move this back up here. And so we move this to 0, tighten it up. So what we're used to typically, especially when you're shooting shallow depth of field, is that focus is linear, right? As you're focusing in and out, it's linear. So if you have a subject and you're trying to shallow depth of field, you're trying to bokeh out the background, it's linear to your subject. So your subject, let's just say this camera here, and the focus plane is linear this way. What a tilt lens does, it actually shifts the focus plane to various angles. So your subject doesn't move, but the focus point moves. And so if you're shooting an f1.4 and your subject is here and a wall is here and you shift it like this, part of the wall will be in focus and then your subject will be in focus, and then as it tilts this way, whatever's over here will be out of focus. So you can actually shift your focus point either going horizontal this way, or as you saw, if you shift this thing here to 90 degrees this way, you can actually shift it up and down like this, right? So that's the kind of things you can do, kind of perspective distortion, and I'm gonna have fun playing with this. And again, Fujifilm doesn't make this lens, so this will be kind of fun to go out. I think, in fact, I'm gonna have the most fun with this lens, and then probably the next lens I'm gonna have fun is with this Noct here, this 0.95, because you know we don't know what a 0.95 should look on a Fujifilm. We know one stop brighter than this 3514, and again, I don't expect the optical quality of this to be anywhere near this. I think if you stop it down, what is the saying? Every lens is sharp. It's just a matter of how much to stop it down. Because I don't expect it to be ultra sharp at 0.95, but maybe it is. And if it's only sharp in the middle, you're kind of bokehing stuff out anyways at 0.95, right? But I also want to test at infinity. So focusing right there at infinity, or anything sort of, here we go, what is it here? Anything probably beyond 25 feet here. You're at infinity at 0.95. I'm gonna look for chromatic aberration, I'm gonna look for light fall off, and sort of see what I'm gonna get with this lens here. Definitely with this tilt lens, I haven't played with one of these in a very long time, so this would be a lot of fun. Look at that. I mean, look, you're tilting your focus point. That'd be a lot of fun. And so thank you so much, TT Artisan, for sending me these 3 lenses. Make sure you follow me on Instagram as well as on Twitter and on YouTube, and I'm going to report back on these lenses. The 27, I'm the least excited about, but I mean, I don't have Fujifilm's 27 pancake. So, you know, if I had something like an XE4 or even an XE3, which I don't have, if you have a smaller Fujifilm body, having something like this, having autofocus, and spending like $150, I think it's definitely worth it to have something like this, especially if it's something you kind of want to bang around and, you know, not be too worried that you're taking this out in the rain or whatever. This lens is probably the right one for you. But if you want to do some creative stuff, Fujifilm doesn't have a tilt lens. Fujifilm does not have a 35mm Noct, and so playing with these 2 lenses from TT Artisan will be a lot of fun. And until then, we'll talk to you soon. Happy shooting.